You know that feeling when you check your bank account and you swear you had more money than what's showing up? Like you know you didn't spend it. You know it should be there, but somehow your balance is just lower than it should be? Yeah, that's not your imagination. That's not you forgetting about some purchase. That's a tiny rule buried in your bank's terms and conditions that's been quietly draining your account for years, and you probably don't even know it exists. My name is Minted Finance, and I spend way too much time thinking about how banks make money off rules that sound completely reasonable until you actually do the math on them. If you're someone who's ever been hit with a random bank fee and thought, wait, what did I even do wrong? Hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up because we're about to expose the one banking rule that's probably cost you thousands of dollars without you ever noticing. Here's the thing, and I need you to really pay attention to this. When you deposit a check into your bank account, that money doesn't actually become available to you immediately. I know, you see it in your balance. It says it's there, but it's not really there. And this gap between when money appears in your account and when you can actually use it, that's where banks are absolutely destroying people financially. It's called a hold period. And before you click away thinking this doesn't apply to you, let me tell you something wild. A study by Bankrate found that 38% of Americans have been hit with overdraft fees because of holds on deposited funds. Not because they actually spent more than they had, because the bank was holding their money hostage and processing transactions as if that money didn't exist. Let me break down how this actually works, because the mechanics of this are genuinely infuriating. Let's say you deposit a $1,500 check on Monday. Your bank account now shows you have $1,500 more than you had before. Great, right? Wrong. Under something called Regulation CC, which is a Federal Reserve rule that banks absolutely love, your bank can hold that check for anywhere from 2 to 7 business days, depending on a bunch of factors that they conveniently don't explain clearly. So your account says you have $1,500. You've got bills to pay. You write checks, you use your debit card, you pay your rent. But the bank is processing all those transactions as if that $1,500 doesn't exist yet. And then Tuesday morning, you wake up to 4 overdraft fees at $35 each because the bank decided to clear your rent check before releasing your deposit. You just paid $140 in fees for spending your own money. Money that was already in your account, money that you could see right there in your balance. And here's the part that makes me genuinely angry. This is completely legal. The bank didn't break any rules. You did, technically, because you spent money that wasn't available yet, even though it was literally visible in your account balance. Now look, banks will tell you this rule exists to protect them from fraud. They'll say they need time to verify that checks are legitimate, that the funds actually exist in the other person's account, that nothing sketchy is going on. And okay, fine, that's a reasonable thing to need to check. But here's what most people don't realize. The technology to verify a check exists in about 3 seconds. The ACH network, which is what banks use to transfer money between each other, processes transactions almost instantly. Banks know whether a check is good or not within hours, not days. But they hold your money for days anyway, sometimes a whole week. And during that time, while your money is in limbo, while it's sitting there, not available to you, but also not in the other account anymore, the bank is using it. They're lending it out, they're investing it, they're making money on it. Your money is working for them while they're charging you fees for trying to use it. Let me show you how much this actually costs people. The average American gets hit with about 3 overdraft fees per year, according to the Consumer Protection Bureau. The average overdraft fee is $34, so that's $102 a year just in direct fees. But that's just the average across all Americans, including people who never overdraft. If you're someone who's actually dealing with holds on checks regularly, maybe you're a freelancer getting paid by check, maybe you're a small business owner depositing customer payments, maybe you're just someone who still uses checks for some reason, you're getting hit way more often. Financial Health Network found that people who overdraft frequently pay an average of $450 per year in overdraft fees. $450. That's a car payment. That's a month of groceries. That's gone just because banks can hold your money and pretend it's not there yet. But wait, it gets worse, because overdraft fees aren't the only way this rule costs you money. When you can't access your deposited funds, you might miss payments on other things. You might not be able to pay your credit card bill on time, so now you're paying a late fee and interest. You might not be able to pay your utilities, so now you're paying a reconnection fee. You might need to use a credit card for an emergency expense that you could have paid for with the money sitting in your account that you can't access, so now you're paying credit card interest.
The Consumer Protection Bureau estimated that holds on deposited funds indirectly cost Americans about $8 billion per year when you factor in all the downstream fees and interest charges they trigger. $8 billion, and most people have no idea this is even happening to them. Here's where it gets interesting. Banks have gotten really clever about how they display your account balance to make this even more confusing. Most banks now show you two different balances, your total balance and your available balance. Your total balance includes everything, including held funds. Your available balance is what you can actually use. But here's the problem. When you check your account quickly on your phone, which number are you seeing? Most apps show the total balance in big numbers right at the top. The available balance is smaller, further down. Sometimes you have to tap to see it. This isn't an accident. This is design. Banks know that if you see the bigger number, you'll think you have more money than you actually have access to, and you're more likely to spend money that triggers an overdraft fee. The Government Accountability Office did a study on this and found that 54% of people who overdrafted didn't realize their hold on deposited funds were still on hold. They thought the money was available because they saw it in their account. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Nick, but this is depressing, but what am I supposed to do about it? These are bank rules, I can't change them. And you're right, you can't change the rules, but you can absolutely change how you interact with them. First thing you need to do is switch which balance you pay attention to. Stop looking at your total balance. I don't care if it's bigger and makes you feel better about your financial situation, it's a lie. It's not money you can actually use. From now on, only look at your available balance. That's reality. That's what you actually have access to. I know it's psychologically harder to see the smaller number, but that's exactly why banks hide it. Fight that urge. Second, if you deposit checks regularly, you need to track hold periods manually. I'm serious about this. Get a Notes app on your phone or a simple spreadsheet, and every time you deposit a check, write down the amount, the date, and when you expect it to be available. Most banks will tell you the availability date when you make the deposit. Write that down. Don't rely on the bank's app to remind you. Don't rely on your memory. Track it yourself. Third, pad your account. I know this is annoying. I know it shouldn't have to keep extra money sitting there just to avoid fees on your own money. But until you can move to a better banking situation, keep at least a couple $100s more in your account than you think you need. This buffer protects you from the hold period trap. Yes, it means keeping more money in a low-interest checking account, but it's better than paying $140 in overdraft fees. Fourth, and this is the big one, switch to a bank that doesn't pull this stuff. There are banks and credit unions that have much shorter hold periods or that make funds available immediately from members in good standing. Chime, Current, and Varo, these online banks, advertise instant availability as a core feature. A lot of credit unions will waive holds for members who've been with them for a while and have a good track record. Now look, I'm not going to sit here and shill for specific banks. I don't have partnerships with any of them. But do your research. Read the actual deposit hold policy before you open an account. Most banks publish this information, but it's buried in the terms and conditions that nobody reads. Read it. Ask questions. Find out exactly how long they'll hold your deposits and under what circumstances. Fifth, move away from checks entirely if you can possibly can. I know some situations require them. Some employers still pay by check. Some clients insist on it. But whenever you have the option, push for direct deposit, ACH transfer, Venmo, Zelle, literally anything electronic that settles faster than a paper check. The fewer checks you deposit, the fewer opportunities banks have to hold your money. Here's the thing that nobody tells you about banking. It's not a neutral service. Your bank is not your friend. They're a business, and their business model is built on exploiting information asymmetry. They know way more about how money moves through the financial system than you do, and they use that knowledge to profit from you at every opportunity. And hold periods are just one example of this. Overdraft fees, minimum balance requirements, monthly maintenance fees, ATM fees, all of these are built on the same principle. The bank creates a rule that sounds reasonable, doesn't explain it clearly, and then profits when you inevitably violate it. But here's what I've learned spending way too much time thinking about this stuff. Once you understand how these rules actually work, once you see through the deliberately confusing language and the misleading account displays, you can protect yourself. Not perfectly, the system is designed to catch you sometimes, but you can minimize the damage. And more importantly, you can stop blaming yourself when you do get caught. Because this isn't a personal failing. This isn't you being bad with money. This is a multi-billion-dollar system designed by people who understand behavioral psychology better than you do, built specifically to extract fees from you without you noticing. The fact that 38% of Americans have been hit with overdraft fees because of holds on deposited funds means this isn't a rare problem. This isn't something that only happens to financially irresponsible people. This is a widespread systemic issue that affects almost half the population. And banks count on you feeling like it's your fault, so you don't get angry about it, don't talk about it, don't demand better. Here's what most people don't realize. Banks actually don't need to hold your deposits this long. The technology exists to verify checks almost instantly. Other countries have already moved to instant payment systems where deposits are available immediately. The UK launched their faster payment service in 2008. India launched UPI in 2016. These systems work fine. There's no fraud epidemic, banks don't go bankrupt. The only reason American banks still use multi-day holds is because we let them, because it's profitable, because changing the system would cost them billions in float income and overdraft fees, and they have no incentive to do it. But you know what? You don't have to wait for the system to change. You can vote with your wallet.